Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the 480 podcast. Today, we're here to give you guys a breakdown on the Week 2 preview between your Arizona State Sun Devils and Mississippi State Bulldogs, the first time these teams will ever face off in Mountain America Stadium. And ASU is here to look maybe for their first SEC win ever in the school's history. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'm so excited for this game, man.
Yeah.
SEC, ASU against the SEC. It hasn't gone well in the past, but
Yeah, we're 0-5.
0-5, but hey,
Program history.
Saturday is going to be different.
Saturday's different, guys.
Saturday's
gonna be
different. The house is going to be packed.
Oh, yeah.
They're projecting maybe the most attended ASU game of all time.
Definitely could be. I know the most amount is, I think they said 14,000 and 200.
Only 14?
Yeah, 14,000. It was against UCLA back in 20.
No way.
Yeah, it was.
Winning 48-7 to
But
Wyoming.
you know who was embarrassed was Wyoming. That's for sure.
No, okay, let's just say it was a rude awakening for the Jay Savelle era, coming out of a 10-year tenure from Craig Boole, the original Wyoming coach. He didn't put any last names on his players' jerseys. And now we're coming in with Jay Savelle, and Wyoming had their last names all over their jerseys. Maybe they should change up the equipment manager a little bit.
Wait, guys. I discovered something. This is student attendance. We had more than 13,000 people.
Yeah,
we
go
had
on
13
ESPN.
We had 13,000 students.
Yeah.
That's what it's okay.
Go to
we got it.
ESPN, go to ASU schedule, and then it'll
Okay,
show the game. And
student
go to the
attendance is what I was talking about then. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
okay, no,
for
it's
that.
okay.
What was
No.
our attendance? What did we have?
We're gonna
40?
look. We're gonna look. Pulling up ASU Wyoming. It's gonna say capacity. It's usually at the bottom. Or no, that's
Or
I
it's
will
on
say-
the far right.
I will say, though, too, going back to the Wyoming game, let's also not forget about, Craig Bull's son, Aaron Bull, being the new defensive coordinator for Mississippi State, entering his first year.
Interesting.
Been around the team for a few decades now. Definitely hasn't done anything at the collegiate level, but definitely was getting embarrassed out there. So I always want to see that on the Wyoming side of things. Strider, you got something for me?
I got something for you. Attendance was 48,000.
There it is.
I was
There it
absolutely
is.
shocked. I was like, that was only 13,000
packed
people.
house.
It was a
I
packed house.
apologize. So that was the student attendance record is 14,000 and something.
And that's
UCLA.
what we're trying to break this game.
Yes. Okay.
Is that record?
Well, when you look at it too, like
up.
ASU's student attendance in general is around like 70 to 80,000. So
Yeah.
like, just bringing in a quarter of our student population, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's what Dillingham talked about a little bit in his press conference, that this is one of the biggest freshman classes ASU has ever had. And so he believes that there's kind of a spark with these freshmen, that they're just really interested in this program because of, them actually being slightly competitive this year
Well, let's
compared
be
to years
real. I
past.
think the video game College Football 25 has contributed to the hype a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we didn't really have a way to resonate with our team for the last decade.
Yeah.
And it's like now we finally have a good team. People are a lot more gravitated towards using ASU, potentially building a dynasty on the video game.
Yeah, of course. I also really like the fact for college football, like it's bringing about like awareness though too to like the game to younger folks. Like I know that's how I got involved too in like a lot of early stuff with like MLB, NFL, like playing those old school Madden games, dude. That's what got me into football a little
Madden
bit.
13 got me
That
into
was
football.
your Madden 13 with Richard Sherman?
Or
was it-
I think that one was Calvin Johnson.
Calvin.
I think 15 was Richard Sherman.
Okay, yeah.
But
that
even
does
though
ring a
That
bell.
was such a tough cover photo by
Even-
That was
even-
so tough.
Mine was Madden 10, Larry
Madden
Fitz
10?
and Troy Polamalu.
Oh, the
my
split
gosh.
cover.
Yeah, I even had that
the
game on the
flying
Wii too.
Hawaiian guys.
I had the PlayStation 2 and it on the Wii as well, and it was terrible quality on the Wii. It's hilarious, but on PlayStation 2, that game is goated. Hines Ward is goated.
Hines Ward is good.
Hey, you throw him a go route, he's gone.
Speaking of Hines Ward, the wide receiving head coach at ASU did a phenomenal job leading this team against Wyoming last week.
One thing I really wanted to acknowledge, when I was just going over the TV tape after the game and everything, Hines Ward was a huge contributor to not only the energy, but the confidence in this receiving core. I saw Jake Smith really fill into his skill set. I mean, it said he hadn't played for 1,000 days.
1,000 days,
Yeah,
man.
so just coming out here and showing that speed does truly kill. It was
Yeah.
really cool. I saw Hines Ward just really patting his helmet every single time he came off the field. I can definitely see how we're going to scheme around Jake Smith and some of our receivers this year.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Jake Smith, and I listened to his post-game interview, and
Oh, he had one?
he
got
had
one.
one. He did have one.
Yeah.
It was actually really good to hear, and he
Cool.
was talking about just like no one understands the struggle that he went
Yeah.
through. 1,000 days of not being able to do the thing you love. He said there was so many times he could have quit.
Bro
and-
was sitting at USC watching Caleb Williams.
yes,
Yeah.
That
yes,
sucks. I'd be so anxious to play.
I know. And so he said, pre-snap, first snap of the game, he was emotional.
Yeah.
But he said the second that ball was snapped, he was locked in.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Good, bro. He's a hometown native. He's from Scottsdale.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna be good for us this year.
And I absolutely love the fact, though, too, seeing guys ball out such as Jordan Tyson, who had a
Tyson looked
wonderful
good.
game.
Ooh.
Yak.
Let's not forget about, too,
Yet
one of the,
YAC Yak.
Yes,
Yeah.
dude.
and we also had one of the people from the Pat Tillman Leadership Council, Melquan Stovall, having a wonderful game, doing a
Yeah,
great
he's
job
our
at
returner.
returning. Yeah, doing a great job returning. He had that one head topper, too, on one of the cornerbacks for Wyoming
Yeah.
for that 20-yard gain. That was beautiful. But one fun fact I do love to throw in from this game, I don't know if you guys have said this already, but from the Wyoming game at ASU, Sam Levitt threw for more yards than the entire offense for Wyoming actually had yards.
Produce, yeah.
He doubled it. He doubled it.
Yeah,
258.
We
So-
were kind of laughing about it. Evan Sabota had like negative 30 rushing yards on his
Yeah.
box score and had went, 4 for
4 for 10.
Yeah, 4 for 10
40% completion rate.
for 42 yards.
Yeah. And with two
Dude, what?
interceptions. But also, they had a freshman come in. Cade Anderson came in during the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah, he
balled
let it
out.
drive.
He balled out.
Yeah.
60% completion throw rate, had a touchdown, and threw for more yards than Evan Sabota. He finished with, I think it was 56. Sabota finished with 36.
He probably just couldn't beat his hometown school. He's like, all right, I'm from Mesa. I really don't. I'm gonna represent Red Mountain High. I don't want to do Tempe dirty. Let's give them a win for their first week.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, I'm joking because Evan Sabota tried his best. He wasn't seeing the field. He literally threw his interception to Zaire Straseu and Keyshawn Elliott in ways where he could have just switched to a different read, but he was forcing these balls, and we really exploited his lack of efficiency.
Hey, what about that run from Pete? Keona Pete, do you see that? One of our offensive linemen, his brother is Koa Pete. Do you know who that is?
No.
I know Koa. I know
Koa, one of the highest ranked basketball players in the country, plays for Perry High School, same high school as Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Down in Chandler.
His brother,
Yeah.
his brother is on ASU and he's a lineman, and we gave him a carry at the end of the game.
Really?
Because Koa Pete was at the game, and this isn't insignificant. Bob Hurley was also at the game.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit of recruiting there with Coach Dilly and Bob Hurley. Maybe they conspired together and said, "Hey, if the game gets out of hand, let's give Koa Pete something to remember about ASU."
My favorite thing about Koa Pete is listed on ESPN and also on 24/7 Sports. He's listed as an offensive lineman.
Keona,
Yeah.
he is an offensive. He is an offensive
I know,
lineman.
and it's so funny to me though because on the ESPN stats, like the stat sheet, he's pulling up as a running back for the rushing yards. So it says offensive lineman and running back, and I'm so sorry for anybody at home. It is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, no, he's got to put his film out there.
Yeah.
All right, so this segues into this Saturday, September 7th. ASU is hosting Mississippi State Bulldogs. They're coming off a dominant win against Eastern Kentucky, and ultimately, I'm very excited for this opportunity for our Sun Devils. I think we can add a point to the win column on the overall SEC record. How do we feel about this game? Are we excited? What are the emotions like?
I mean, to start, we're 6.5-point favorites.
Woo! Let's
That's
go!
that's what we were against
Last
Wyoming.
week, and
so
then we won by 41. So let's see the same
is
thing
a
happen.
41-point game coming? I don't know.
Oh my
It's
God.
an SEC team.
Imagine
41
oh my
points. I don't know.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about Mississippi is they run a 3-3-5. The
Yeah.
biggest thing about their defense is they're going to be very linebacker heavy, really trying to, stop the rush. I know I said it again against Wyoming. Obviously, that's going to be the biggest thing for anybody is stopping Cam Scatabo.
Yeah.
But especially with the running back core that ASU has, and I think also the wide receivers kind of proving themselves a little bit last week against some of Wyoming's corners. I think
Yeah.
Jordan Tyson, really feels comfortable out on the field now. I definitely feel like he's going to be a deep threat. Love to see a few more
I
deeper
can't wait to
passes
see some
from
more
Sam.
Troy Omier as well.
Yes, I agree. And, Melquan Stovall, again, had a great game. I'd love to see him, too, get more reps as a wide receiver in that aspect, too. But the biggest thing about Mississippi is their corners. They had a great transfer portal this year, selecting a good amount of cornerbacks from that transfer portal. And let's also not forget, too, about Mississippi State's head coach. A brand new head coach is in front of us this year at Mississippi State. You have anything on that a little bit, Trev?
Yes. So more context towards player evaluation, just what I saw in their game against Eastern Kentucky. I do like their linebacker core in Stone Blanton, Nick Mitchell. They're definitely run stopper type of linebackers, but the problem is I saw a lot of Stone Blanton's missed tackles. I definitely could see our running backs feasting off of this lack of, I would just say their lack of identity right now. Yeah, they got the DB core. I do really like Isaac Smith. He was their free safety, but he goes into the box a lot.
Yeah, Isaac Smith had a great game. 11 total tackles, 5 solo, pass defended.
Yeah,
he's a dog.
He was climbing down the field, and he was in the box pretty much trying to add another rusher, stacking up front seven pretty much. When you stack up the box, that's when you kind of show that you're very focused on stopping the run, and more importantly, that is your comfortable identity. You don't want to be out there in zone. You just want to be able to stop the runner before they get past the line of scrimmage, and ultimately that probably is how you would stop a Cam Scatterboot, DeCarlos Brooks, even a Kyson Brown. Like, you got to tackle them before the line of scrimmage, because if they break it to the second level, it is so hard to bring down those guys, and we saw it. We really did. My play of the game from the post-game reaction was literally DeCarlos Brooks hitting it to the second level, and no one could tackle him.
Yeah. Going off on that, ASU does have a dominant run game, and it's going to come down to how Mississippi State can react to that, right? How are their linebackers going to be able to get good push? Mm-hmm. And there's still a lot of question marks with this ASU offense. Lost a lot of starters from it.
True.
Yeah, we didn't face
offensive line. Yeah, we didn't face a lot of pressure last week.
We didn't face any adversity last week. The only adversity we faced was special teams. Even Dillingham brought that up in his presser.
He did. He did.
And what adversity entails is getting behind the chains. So when you're not in these third and manageables, or you're not moving the ball in terms of your first down drive, ultimately when you get stuck behind these situations where you're 2nd and 12 or you're 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, you're putting Sam Leavitt in a very uncomfortable position to make a decision. And ultimately, we haven't really seen that decision making, except for when he did extend a few plays with his legs. He definitely proved that he could be dual threat and just a very smart decision maker.
Yeah, but no adversity last game. But Mississippi State, it's not going to be a cakewalk.
No pick six in the first 42 seconds.
Definitely that one.
That's not going to happen.
I'm hoping
Congrats
for
to
that.
Zayas Piasu. Quick shout out.
If every game starts like that, obviously Sam Leavitt's going to go onto that field and feel a lot more better. He literally came onto the field after 2 interceptions.
Yeah, up 7-0, and on the
it was on the 50, like the 45 or something.
Yeah, it was on like Wyoming side of the field.
Yeah, dude.
But turnovers are going to happen. This is a Brian Ward-led defense, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, and Brian Ward's even said himself, too, in an interview that he did, I think right before the Wyoming game, that they're looking to be a more aggressive offense.
Yep.
Be better than ever. They're trying to be that same team that they were back in 2010, where they finished with, I think it was 30 sacks and over 40 tackles for a loss. Wow. He's trying to get back to that same squad. Yeah. And, sorry, it was 2014. My bad. I forgot about that. But 2014 was the last time that Brian Ward did that with his defense. And I know he's trying to get back to that caliber. That's what he's been saying ever since that interview's been coming out. He said it after, too, in the postgame that he had. But he even said, he's like, I just want to have an aggressive defense. He's like, I just want to make sure that this team is, getting on the offensive line quick, being able to read players' routes. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they did that very well last game against Wyoming.
It wasn't even the DBs. It was the linebackers.
Oh, yeah. It was their middle
linebackers. Like
linebackers.
Cyrus and Keyshawn, they were feeding off of each other as the Mike and the Will. And ultimately, I didn't know how I was going to feel about this linebacker core. I was a little suspect going into it. I thought our defensive line would have been the better part of the front seven. Yeah. But ultimately, I honestly think this linebacker core, and what's really cool is it's because Keyshawn Elliott, Miles Rouser, they're transfers out of New Mexico State, and they were very involved contributors to their prospective previous Mountain West teams. They were balling. So I think they were captains as well on their defense last year.
I believe, which one was the captain? I think it might have been Keyshawn Elliott. But
Yeah.
Keyshawn.
Keyshawn, I believe,
Yeah.
was the Elliott.
Yeah, and even Dillingham was like, dude, they're captains on a football team. Like that.
No, a
has
competitive
everything-
football
Yeah,
team.
that's all I
team,
need
yeah.
to know. It's like, football if you're a captain on a previous team.
Yeah.
Of course, and that was the whole point of the Pat Tillman Leadership Council, was
Yeah.
to, really have the guys that they thought would bring about like a change on both sides of the field. Which, I mean, Keyshawn, I felt like really proved that. I feel like he really stepped up as the defensive guy on that side of things to really be like, hey guys, I'm the captain. Look at me. I'm making plays. You guys make plays too. Like I think it was honestly encouraging to the rest of the defense, seeing like one of the older guys just perform really well and just wanting to be like Keyshawn. I honestly thought that was a lot of what went into his defense that game.
Yeah, and since we're on the topic of like our defensive captains, you didn't really see a lot of Xavier Alford popping off the film, but he is the leader of this defense. He is the main communicator, and I'm really excited for X this season. I think he's going to ball out. I do see him as potential NFL talent. Ultimately, what really shocked me was the fact of how deep this DB depth was. I loved Shamari Simmons. I loved Miles Rouser popping Evan Sabota in the first quarter. That was crazy. And then it's like you don't even need Xavier Alford to be this all-around safety. He's just communicating, keeping everyone in check, and that's what a captain does. He makes sure everyone is consistently following their assignments, and pretty much that's what I saw on Saturday.
Paving his way for Cole Martin to
Of course.
Yeah,
be
he's
a
gonna be a
great
good slot.
a contributor for
I-
this
Yeah.
team.
I love Cole Martin. I mean, guy coming out of Oregon State from the transfer portal,
Yeah.
had 3 tackles, 3
But
solo
an
tackles.
Arizona native.
He is an
Yeah.
Arizona native, went to Basha High School.
Basha High School.
That's cool.
By the way, Highland beat them last year in a very close game. In case
That's crazy.
nobody knows about high school football out here in Arizona, it gets intense sometimes, and I called basically a walk-off victory for Highland against Basha last year, and they have a number 5 recruited prospect who actually just committed to U of A. Be on the lookout.
Screw U of A though.
Yeah, screw U of A. Don't bear down. No one bear down.
No
bear
bearing
down.
down.
No bear
bearing
down. But Damon Ritter is his name. He's going to U of A. He's a 5-star.
Not Desmond Ritter.
Yeah,
he's
not
on the practice squad. But since we bring up the DBs and bring up our general defense, this is pretty much what needs to perform well in terms of just mitigating the splash plays from Mississippi State. Why they were so successful last week against Eastern Kentucky was they took the top off their defense. It was really just Blake Shapen just throwing these long balls to wide open Kevin Coleman and wide open Mario Craver. Those guys, those speed guys, you're going to see who Kevin Coleman is. He is so freaking fast, man. He is a previous transfer out of Jackson State University, an HBCU school. He is so athletic, and ultimately how we contain their 2 athletic receivers will determine how successful we are on defense. And so I really believe in the athleticism of our defensive backs. We're going to really contain everyone. I don't see us doing any stupid cover 2 calls, and if we do, we're communicating through it. But could be totally wrong, but I feel like they're not really going to be able to establish their run game. Their confidence is about using their SEC athleticism.
No, totally. And I mean, like you just said, I mean, I definitely am on the lookout too for those receivers, but I personally am a really big fan of Jordan Mosley. From what I saw from him,
Yeah,
that
he
guy's
looked
an
nice.
absolute beast. 5 receptions, 104 yards last
Yeah, he
game
looked
against
nice.
Eastern Kentucky. Had a tutty.
What was
himself,
his
too.
long? Like,
His long was 65.
so that exactly. So
yeah,
that's
65.
kind of that's all the volume on his stat line. Is like he had this go route where he was wide open within the first drive, and obviously like the DB thought he was in cover 2, so it's not his fault, but it happened on 2 different situations with Mario Craver as well. It's like, look, great for you, Blake Shapen, transfer out of Baylor. It was a little slower of a season for you last year. You did not do that well. Ultimately, Baylor lost to Texas State and Texas Tech last year.
Yeah.
So it's like
Down
we're
year for
playing
Baylor.
those 2 teams now. It's like
Uh-huh.
so if we're
We're
able
gonna beat
to
Baylor.
Well,
We'll beat
Tech-
Baylor.
well, we're not
we
playing
aren't
Baylor.
Ba-
We're not
We're
playing
gonna
Baylor.
beat Texas State.
Well,
Oh, Texas.
fingers crossed.
Hopefully.
It's a Thursday night game, and it's coming after this Mississippi State game. So it's
Yeah.
like you're asking our Sun Devils to have 3 days to recover. Travel to San Marcos, which is near, I think it's near San Antonio. I
I don't know
Possibly.
Texas.
Yeah.
I
know
lived in
I'm
Texas
sorry.
and I don't really remember.
yeah,
You did?
Texas. Is-
I did.
Okay,
I lived
sorry.
in Fort Worth, actually.
I did not know that.
That's cool. DFW is really beautiful.
Yes, sir, dude.
Cool
Texas
metropolitan.
Rangers,
I
baby.
feel left out. I'm an
Nah.
Arizona native, guys. I know Pennsylvania, and that's about it.
Nah.
Yeah, but I wanted to point out this team's healthy, guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
I'm looking at the injury report right now. Unfortunately, Raleek Brown is still questionable. Can't wait to see him on the field. He's going to
Totally.
be great.
It's cool. We just need him till the end.
Same with Shanae. I mean, I want to see him get back.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got Ben Coleman stepping up for his last year of college eligibility. He's got to put out some NFL
I do
tape.
too. I'm such a fan though of Shanae. I absolutely I love that guy, man. I really think he's gonna
Yeah,
go
those
crazy
Pacific
with us.
Islanders ball.
they do.
For
but
Yes, we do. He's right about that, guys.
It
They
was
do
so
well.
funny seeing the Zyrus Faseu's curly hair just run it in for that pick six. It's like, man, like there's something about this team.
Yeah, I love Fiasu, man. I mean, I honestly think, how he played, in my opinion, being the middle linebacker for us too for the first like 2 drives of the game. I think he did a great job sustaining zone coverage. We ran zone
Yeah.
coverage basically the entire first half, and I think he did a great job at honestly staying with his man. I think he did a great job too at just reading the eyes of Evan Sabota, which he was always looking towards his first target.
Yeah.
That's was the biggest thing about Sabota from the Wyoming game was he was always looking straight at his target. So I felt like it was a little bit easier to read, giving a little bit of, stuff to the defense there. But
What's really cool is like we went into this ASU Wyoming game and we kind of knew the game plan on both sides. It was almost like the Spider-Man meme. Like you're just like pointing at each other like, all right, who's going to run the ball better? Who's going to stop the run, right? I feel like it's the complete opposite with this game now.
Yeah.
The game plan for Mississippi State is to really let the ball into Blake Shapen's hands and let him pretty much dice up, manage the game, the clock. And I don't feel as confident into their running backs. I honestly thought Davon Booth, who's their RB2, performed better than Kayvon Lee in last week's game. I honestly think he might get some more PT. So ultimately, like, dude, I love our guys just pinning back their ears and going and being an aggressive front seven.
yeah, speaking of Blake Shapen, you got to watch the tape from Mississippi State. What did you see from Blake Shapen, and what are you thinking about this game?
I saw wide open passes. It's like your decision making is a lot easier if your guys are just taking the top off.
It's a
wide
lot. It's a
open.
lot easier if you're playing Eastern Kentucky.
It
Yeah,
was hard to watch because Eastern Kentucky was just shooting themselves in the foot. Like they looked like a good team. Their offense was actually moving the chains. Like pretty much what the context is. Mississippi State couldn't convert on 2 different 4th down occasions. They weren't converting on their 3rd downs either. Their drives were pretty much long ball splash plays. There was not a single moment where they were establishing a run game, taking or dominating the time of possession. Mississippi State was struggling. It was almost like Eastern Kentucky was like, all right, like we're going to have to lose by the highlights. And they did. They lost by the highlights because you literally saw Kevin Coleman just running way past the DB, and he threw up his hand the second he knew, all right, I already get
He's
get
beat him.
separation.
He's like, I burn him.
So, to make your point for you, Jordan Mosley, 65-yard touchdown. Okay.
Easy.
Creed Whitmore, 41-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that was a garbage time one.
Yeah.
And then look
Kevin
at the
Coleman
Kevin
Jr.,
Coleman,
yeah, 23-yard touchdown. They had one.
He was their producer. He was balling out as the punt returner. Oh my God. Our special teams this week has to dial in. 'Cause
It
this
has
guy
to.
is legit.
Yeah.
I honestly think this might be one of the best punt returners we played this year. He's
Okay.
so good.
Yeah.
He's so good, man. Like I looked him up on 24/7 Sports. His background is in track and field. And if you're at Jackson State University, you played with Dion, you played with Travis Hunter, you got to be an athletic kid, man.
Yeah.
And that's what he is. I think this is his first D1 opportunity, and it's like he's superseding expectations. I honestly see him as a really good guy that we need to contain.
Yeah, and
And
the one drive that wasn't a splash play for them, they started at Eastern Kentucky's 26.
Bruh.
Yeah.
So, to your point,
Bruh.
we didn't see a lot of sustained offense from these guys. And if we can just take away the top, and we have some good safeties on this team,
Yep.
things might look a little bit different.
Totally. And like one of the biggest things though too about this Mississippi State team is that they're finally going to have one of their biggest transfers in this game as a starter. Cameron Bell, the tight end, the 5-star tight end, by the way, might I add, that they picked up through the transfer portal, is expected to start this game. And I'm excited to see how this kid does. Standing at 6'8", 250 pounds, gonna be hard to be taken down. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but he's also very good at route running. That was one of his biggest things after he transferred out of New Mexico State. He used to be with the Aggies. I think honestly that this guy is just going to be so great with this Mississippi offense, and also not to mention the fact that as soon as this guy basically steps back, I think he's kind of also like how Mark Andrews was on Sunday with against the Chiefs. Like
he was playing
left tackle. I do definitely think that he's the type of guy that can play on your offensive line very well. I think he can definitely hold up too against the defensive side for your ASU Sun Devils.
Yeah. So the context behind Mississippi State's offense. All of their players are transfers.
Yeah.
Whether they transferred this year or the previous year, they are all transfers. So it's like they have the depth. They have homegrown depth. Like they have some really good freshmen, sophomores. You brought up Creed. I do really like Mario Craver as a freshman. He's just as athletic as Coleman. It was really cool, but like, come on. If you have all these transfers on offense, there's not that homegrown identity, that culture where it's just like, all right, we take pride in being a Bulldog. It's more of just like, oh, we're all athletic, we're in the SEC, and we made it. But how are you going to execute?
No, totally. And that's the same thing, too, with, most of their corners and their DBs, all from the transfer portal. Montre Miller's from the transfer portal, one of the better cornerbacks coming from Western Virginia last year. Saw a few snaps, nothing too crazy. But there was also the offensive tackle side of things, too. They got four-star commit Jacoby Jackson. They got defensive lineman Wookie Denard from Auburn, who was really good in case nobody actually remembers him. Very good on the defensive line. I think he actually finished the season with over 15 solo tackles, and I think he actually had 7 sacks. He was really good with Auburn, especially during their game against Bama last year. He was actually crazy. Another offensive tackle here, though, too, Maitland Pounders. Definitely.
What a name.
I love this guy's name, by the way.
Pounders, dude.
Yeah,
Every
Pounders.
time I hear Pound, I'm thinking of Pound C.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marcus Pouncey?
Yeah,
Steelers legend, by the way.
Maurice Pouncey.
Yeah, Maurice
Chargers
Pouncey.
legend.
Chargers legend, yeah. But yeah, no.
Florida legends.
Speaking of Florida, what a game, by the
They're
way.
gonna be the doormat of the
yeah.
SEC, bro. I love seeing. They started a GoFundMe to fire Billy Napier.
Oh my gosh, I saw
my
that. That was
God.
so funny.
How about Bill O'Brien though, man?
Oh,
Coaching that woohoo, Boston College,
He
man.
showed up to Florida State,
FSU was cooked. I'm sorry.
and they
FSU
rushed
was
for
cooked.
200 plus yards on Florida State.
Okay, I have a question. This isn't ASU related, but I was talking to my buddies, and my buddy didn't think that the AP poll sometimes ranks guys off of past love, right? FSU should not have been, I don't think they should have been ranked coming into this year. Maybe 25, but not 10. I think they were ranked that high just because of their performances last year. I don't think they had anything really to warrant such a high
They
ranking.
had
No,
the
that's
talent.
totally
they
right.
had the flashy players.
Okay,
Well,
is
and
that
that's-
why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, Trev's completely right with that. And not to mention the fact, though, too, FSU going undefeated last year. I mean, I felt like there was a little
and
bit
then
of
like
bias. Especially
projection of DJ Ukulele. Obviously, we thought he would have been better coming out of Clemson or Oregon State.
What is the meme? DJ, you need to find a job.
That's
Bro,
actually
yeah, there was also another meme where it's like, can't get worse than coming from Trevor Lawrence to DJU. Yeah, you can. You can go from Jordan Travis to
Oh my
DJU.
gosh.
It's like, bro, poor guy, dude.
No,
Poor
totally.
guy.
And FSU, I think one of the things, again, with FSU is obviously with them being undefeated, I think there was so much controversy whether or not they should have gone to the CFB playoffs last year that they ranked them so high, too, based off of everybody being so mad that they didn't make the playoffs. I would say everybody, but there was a good amount of people that are like, how does a team go undefeated and not make the net?
It's
like,
just
Because you're not good enough.
It's all
Exactly,
about-
That's just
that's
how
totally
it
what
is.
it's
Mike
about,
Norvell
yeah.
hype. Really, like Mike Norvell, the head coach for FSU, is a really good coach. Just you feel bad for him because it's honestly just a lack of execution on their team.
Yeah, totally.
But we come back to the Big 12 action, and it's really cool because I honestly could see ASU getting ranked if we beat Mississippi State, beat Texas State, and then.
okay.
Like I'm not saying after this game.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
saying
I see.
if we build some momentum, and then if we beat a Texas Tech in Week 4, I think we could be ranked
Well,
after that game.
if they're dominant and decisive wins,
We
then
treated Wyoming like a FCS opponent.
we did.
I mean, we did. But at the same time, though, too, I think that there's a very slim chance we get ranked, even beating Texas Tech.
Really?
If
For
we start the
4-0?
season 4-0 and say our margin of victory is like 14 each game.
Dude,
What do you
yeah.
think?
If margin of victory is 14 each game, then we get ranked. I think we.
Yeah.
I think we
That's what
slide to
that's
that
what he's
25.
saying. That's what he's saying.
Then I definitely I can.
It'll be a
for sure.
short-lived rank until we
Yeah.
play all of our ranked
Hey,
opponents.
hey,
but-
hey, we'd have a
OSU,
bye week.
which is an easy win.
We'd have a bye week. We'd be okay.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to pull up the home base Kansas game, the home base Friday night Utah game.
We got Utah in the bag.
Ooh, I honestly think we
You
got
think
more.
we have
I think
Utah in the
Kansas.
I do
bag?
I think
actually.
we have more of Kansas in the bag than Utah. Utah
Hey,
has our number all the time,
fair.
bro. It sucks. We go to if we ever went to Salt Lake City, it's like a
Oh my
guaranteed
goodness,
L.
it is.
That's
It
fair.
sucks.
That's fair. I can attest to
But
that.
it's a hard place to play. What is there to do?
But it's here.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah, both
shoot.
of those games are home.
That's what I'm. That's why I feel. That's why I feel. That's why I feel so confident though about ASU taking that game. I mean, especially with their attendance being so good, at least at the first game of the season.
Yeah,
At
I,
least-
think it's,
honestly,
I think it's gonna stay.
We should give out pitchforks. Like if everyone just had a little pitchfork,
That'd be sick.
go.
Oh my gosh.
Little
I
foam
wanna see-
pitchforks?
I want to see more.
Or just
push-ups.
actual
This
pitch-
is for
The actual
Narnia.
pitch- I want to see
little
actual
plastic
pitch.
ones?
I want to see
like
actual.
the ones the Mariners use.
Dude, you guys have. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
like
Atlantis
the home run.
vibes.
Yeah, the home
We're
Yeah.
from
run.
Atlantis. All right, we'll see if the Mariners make the playoffs.
We'll see if the Pirates make the
Yeah,
playoffs.
buddy.
but-
Oh
let's-
no!
let's pipe down on the Mariners.
Fire Ben Sherrington.
Okay, well, we already fired Scott Service, so.
We fired Gabe Kapler.
Oh, I'm talking our GM, bro. It's more than the manager, bro. Like
well,
we're
Jerry
screwed.
Dipoto might be fired.
Well,
as well,
okay,
so.
your guys is going into baseball here, guys. Also, at the same time, Pirates do not spend money at the right
Yeah,
time.
that's why we
and it
need
is so bad.
If you're watching this, Mark Cuban, freaking buy the Pirates. I know they're not gonna sell. It sucks. Bob Nutting is one of the worst owners.
What a name.
But
Nutting.
dude, Mark Cuban.
Because they're not winning nothing.
Nothing. They not winning nothing.
Honestly, the best thing Bob Nutting did for us is create the Pirates Hall of Fame, and that's it. That's what
Every
it's
team
like.
has a
Lots
Hall
of
of
things,
Fame.
man.
Yeah.
Every team has a Hall of Fame.
I know. We just trying to late. All right, back to ASU.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
got off topic there
Ultimately-
for a minute.
Ultimately, Cam Scadaboo talked about how
Bo.
he enjoys being off the field in the third quarter. Are we seeing the same thing?
You want to start with that? Actually,
Whether he likes being off the field in the third quarter.
Are we gonna have a dominant performance?
Oh,
to
is
put him
is
in
he
the
going to be
sideline?
off the field in the
Yeah.
third quarter? Honestly, would I be upset if that happened? No, but I kind of want a good game here. We're
do
on
too.
ESPN, man.
Yeah,
what
I
a way
I want
to
a blowout.
what a way
want
to.
that.
also don't forget to go
coverage
check
right
out
now.
Blaze Radio Sports on X if you guys want to.
Yeah, he did a little recap. That's off topic. Um,
All right, listen.
Okay.
U of A had ESPN coverage against New Mexico last week.
yeah.
They played with their food. If I'm staying up late East Coast time, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight,
Love those
I don't
games.
want to watch that crap. I don't want to watch U of A play with their food. I want to see U of A dominate a very below average Mountain West school. And that's what we did. We got FS1 coverage and we took full advantage of it. So
Yeah.
if we're on ESPN right now, we're playing a bottom half SEC school. Let's fucking put some points on the board, man.
Yeah.
like, points up. Like, let's go.
No, yeah.
Come on.
Turn me up. Turn me up.
Turn me up.
Yeah, there's no other way to win.
No, see, once again, I would be happy with that, but a fun. Can you imagine just like a fun SEC? Our first win is like a nail biter where we go up by 3
I
with.
can't deal with that stress.
You can't do.
I would love
Man,
that. I'm sorry, but take advantage, man. I mean, I totally agree with you on that. With us finally being on ESPN, which we have not done in so long, honestly,
I wonder why this game was chosen. Do you guys?
because it's the
it's the
first
only-
time ASU will ever have it. Because ASU plays their only SEC opponent.
Well, they
and they have a
determined it
chance.
earlier. So, like, the
Yeah.
point is, it's about the scheduling of it.
Yeah.
And the only other primetime game in this slot is Oregon versus Boise State, and they're on NBC Peacock.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
okay.
like, all right, there's no other, like,
No other
Pac-12
good West-
after,
Yeah, no,
West Coast.
Pac-12 after
Exactly.
dark.
Yeah.
This is the Big 12 after dark.
Big
Now,
12.
and obviously, we're not going to be getting this type of coverage when, like, the real conference games start up.
Totally
but
like the
it
natty.
depends. It's TBD. Just I think we're definitely getting ESPN coverage on the Utah game, maybe the Kansas game if we get lucky. That's TBD. But like ultimately, it's it's just situational stuff.
Yeah.
It really is.
And we have to be scheduled late at night. It's 100 degrees here. You could
Bruh.
the attendance would be like 2,000 if it was a.
I mean, that's why they say welcome to the Inferno, because Arizona is very hot,
It is
especially
hot, man.
especially as we're entering like this September stretch, like this mid-September stretch. The weather out here is not getting any better right now. And so
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit.
Yeah,
we're
next
still
week our high is only like 95.
But we also have had the longest streak ever for
Consecutive
100 degree.
day. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, anyone who doesn't live in Arizona, like
You guys don't understand.
Hey,
It
people
is
say
hot.
people say it's not a
ultimately,
dry.
I
Guys,
would-
it's
dry heat, guys.
It's a dry
Yeah, it's
heat.
a
It's
dry
not
heat.
that bad.
I would
It's
take
so
this
bad.
trade
It's
off
bad.
over humidity every day of the week.
Would you?
What? No, give me
Screw
humidity.
humidity.
Give me humidity every
Nah,
day
bro,
of the
You're
week.
gonna be too sticky like
I d-
molasses, bro.
I used to, dude. I would go to Pennsylvania
Molasses.
every single summer
that's so
for the
humid.
last like 10 years.
That's so
I'm so
humid.
sorry, but please put me in that humidity.
Now,
It
give
is
me-
way
Take
better.
me back to Seattle, man. That's some weather right
Give
there.
me Seattle.
That's some weather
Nah, that's
right there.
depressing weather, bro. You're
me
looking
San
up
Francisco.
clouds.
Yeah, but you get to see green trees and
All right, bro.
animals.
You know what we see? We see roadkill.
Yeah, we do.
We see roadkill
Dude,
and
we
dead
see
trees.
concrete.
And saguaro
concrete
cactuses.
and asphalt.
Most beautiful. Hey, we're at the most beautiful campus on earth, ASU. Lots of red,
Especially the downtown
That's
area.
Palm trees.
palm trees.
Plus, me and Strider being in the downtown area,
Oh,
the best place to be in Arizona, guys.
Best people watching in Arizona. That's all I'll say.
Oh my god, man! I feel
Oh man,
No,
we
ulti-
love our campuses, guys.
Yeah,
We
they're
love our
great. They're
campuses.
great.
Yeah, ASU is awesome. They will
ultimately
also
like
not be a party school within the next 5 years.
It's going down.
In case anybody hasn't seen that video, please go watch it.
Nah.
Oh, you're talking about that one podcast?
That
Those
joke
guys-
makes-
Nah, we're
makes
gonna
it
be
way
a
better.
party school.
I-
This football team's legit.
Yeah.
They
no,
are.
but
They are.
you know the video I'm talking about?
Dude, those guys.
Okay,
are,
yeah.
That guy is so funny, dude.
In case nobody gets it, there's two frat guys that do a podcast like on ASU stuff weekly, and their most recent,
great.
their most recent podcast was talking about ASU not being a party school in the next 5 years because they're cutting down on Greek life. And,
and they started talking about James Hype or something.
It's so funny. Anybody watching, please go watch that video. It is hilarious.
so
It
funny.
will give you a laugh for sure. But going back to Big 12 football.
Yeah, guys, we keep getting off topic. Let's talk Mississippi and ASU again. Let's get back to it.
Okay. The part that I definitely want to talk on a little bit is the head coach for Mississippi entering his first year.
Yeah.
I definitely want to touch on this. Mississippi always has had a very niche type of offense, in my opinion. They've always been the type of guys to really try to find QBs that can definitely roll out of the pocket really quick. I know they had it last year. I mean, it's even evident, though, too, within some of their guys that are playing in the NFL right now with them. By the way, in case anybody's curious, they have 21 official players in the NFL to today's date.
That's crazy.
One of the most notable, by the way, is also Dak Prescott from Mississippi State. I mean, I feel like most people know that, but at the same time, just want to throw that out there. You know, Chris Jones, too, the defensive tackle for Kansas City, who's insane.
And Charles Cross,
Charles
former
Cross.
top 10 pick for the Seahawks.
Yeah,
Charles Cross,
and let's not
legit.
forget,
He's good.
too, about one of my favorite all-time Browns, Martin Emerson Jr.
Damn.
Nobody knows about him. I'm
Like
just saying
anyone
that
on
as
the
a joke,
Browns.
guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
man.
No, I'm just saying that.
Nah, he's a pretty good DB. I'll give him that.
He is a good DB. But Mississippi does produce a lot of good players, especially on the defensive side of things. And all of the guys, though, too, that are really active in the NFL are defensive tackles and defensive ends, besides Dak Prescott, really.
Charles
If we're
Cross.
talking like
Well,
NFL projection for
But-
our ASU team, like I feel like this defense. I feel like this defense is a type of defense that Terrell Suggs would play in. Like,
No, that's
Terrell
fair.
Suggs would be a baller on this defense. Like I could see him just like really just balling out on it. But what do you guys think ultimately about like Cam Scatterboo's dominance to Carlos Brooks? Like, do you really think that there's going to be a lot of depth going into this game?
I mean, personally, I definitely think it's going to be DeCarlo Brooks having a good year, especially with how a lot of the things have gone with him during this past game, too, with Wyoming. He really broke out. I mean, I love to see that, too, from guys that aren't really expected to fully be, you know, in the I don't know how to really put it. To be put in as much as I thought he was going to be, I was kind of very surprised by that.
He played well at Cal.
He did play very well at Cal. And I really love to see guys like that start performing well, especially in the backfield. And ASU's offensive line is one of the best ones I think I've ever seen. From at least, I definitely think that they have a solid offensive
It's
line.
all energy driven too.
It
Like, they're
is,
they're
and
not that talented, but they're like have great.
I don't
chemistry.
know
we
about
kinda-
that, though.
We need. They have talent. We need to see what they do against a real defense.
That's true, but like
and
they
this
have
is SEC
there's,
defense.
there's so many guys on this squad that I like on this offensive
Like,
line. Josh
okay.
Atkins, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Lee Faltani.
is he NFL talent?
Yes. Lee
think?
Faltani was definitely NFL talent. Are
I
you kidding
mean-
me? He's played every single. He is 5th among all FBS players in snaps played.
Yeah, he's a 5th-year
And
college
he's-
football player. Like
But-
he would have graduated and gone to the NFL if he's NFL
Well, because
talent.
Leaf's also
Like-
finishing up his degree right now. That's why. Leaf is finishing up his.
Post grad.
No, Leaf's entering. He's getting his.
Because
Masters.
I saw his graduation pictures.
Masters?
Yeah, he's getting his masters right now. That's
Yeah,
what I mean. He's still got another year left.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
that's
Yeah.
he wants to finish out college and then go NFL. But he's
Okay.
definitely bound. And also he played 896 snaps of last year and again allowed 0 points of pressure on his quarterback last year.
I'll give you
Like-
Josh Atkins definitely was balling. Like I love him as a
course.
second level
Yeah.
blocker. Like Max Iancore, I still kind of like. We'll see what he can do. Like ultimately, chemistry is the reason why we're so effective on the line.
No, of course. But my biggest thing though, going back to Leaf a little bit, is just like, when you have a center like that just protects your QB anytime they drop back, I mean, take him every time. There's a clip last year where I forget who's ASU's playing. It might have been the Fresno State game, which we won't talk about too much.
Ugh.
But
Gross.
Leaf literally was blocking 2 guys at the same time, one in each hand, and it is the funniest clip you guys will ever see. But he is so good, and he's just, I mean, I can't stress it enough. I really like the guy, and not to mention the fact too, like, I feel like being a good offensive lineman runs in the family, especially with his brother Troy Faltanu being a
GOAT.
Steeler. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I know you're excited too.
Yeah.
We're Steelers fans, by the way, guys.
So ultimately, one very important feature that I saw from Mississippi State's game last week is that they are turnover happy. Blake Shapen had a fumble, and their running back Kayvon Lee also had a fumble. Both of those were just slipping out, very careless fumbles. So ultimately, I think that we're going to be able to exploit this turnover happy team, and I can definitely see more of this scoring defense. What'd you say? Brian Ward averaged like 1.8 turnovers
Yeah,
a game.
1.8
1.8.
turnovers per game for his entire career.
Yeah, and he had 3 last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many turnovers did they have last season? Wasn't it like 4?
Let's not talk about
I'm
last
actually-
season, man. We were 3-9.
We're in a new season this year, guys.
Yeah.
We're entering.
We're
a
done
new-
with that.
new
We
conference.
already have a third of the wins that we had last season. We
Yeah.
played 1 game.
We also have
Yeah.
a third of what the AP poll is projecting us to have. So,
oh yeah, imagine
yeah.
anyone who bet on the over/under for ASU just to get 3.5 wins.
I know.
I mean,
you're
I have-
feeling
They're
pretty
sitting
good about
happy
yourself
right now. They're like,
now.
all right, we got BYU, US, UCF. Like we could beat a Texas State.
Hey, they might go over that win
I
total
think-
in these first 4 games.
I
No,
think
I
we
think
beat
so.
OSU. I'm just kidding, guys. That was a joke.
Okay.
Oklahoma State? No,
we're-
I actually think we will.
I
Oh,
thought you
it's-
said.
it's
I thought you
we
after
said
talked
a
about
bye
this
week.
earlier
No, it's
in
after
the
a
season.
bye week,
We
bro.
talked about this earlier.
I know, but we
We'll
play
talk about this when it comes to.
I know,
well,
but
when
we
it
play
comes to-
Cincinnati.
we don't
we
know-
have a bye week, and
We-
then we could go to
but we don't know
Stillwater.
what this team is
Oh my
yet.
gosh.
We
I
still
know.
don't know.
And
That's
not to mention OSU's offensive
They
line
didn't
will
even look
stop.
that good.
Yes, they did. What are you
No,
talking
they
about?
were playing with their foo with South Dakota State.
Of
Guys.
course, because they don't care about South Dakota State.
They don't- and-
It does not. It is not a game that matters to them.
Even if you don't care in those kind of games, you still gotta win by 40.
Okay, well, Penn State also did not care about West Virginia.
No, they did.
Penn State did not.
They
care.
were in Morgantown. That stadium was packed. That game was amazing up until the first half, and then there was a 5-hour rain delay. So Big Noon Saturday ended up being Big Monsoon Saturday. It was
Yeah.
pretty. It was pretty hilarious. And then Penn State came out of that
Delta T,
monsoon
baby. That's all I gotta
going
say.
crazy.
That's all I gotta say is Delta T. Delta T, baby.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
It's the
either.
Penn. So in case nobody knows, a lot of people don't. What this Penn State's hand sign is the Delta T. So anytime,
I just
anytime
know
Penn State plays.
OHIO.
All I know is forks up, guys.
Forks
That's
up.
all I know.
Forks up, guys.
Yeah, so let's. Hey, predictions for this game, guys.
Okay.
Oh,
you
that's
wanna go?
hard, bro.
It is.
I literally said like 17-13 last week,
And
and then
you-
won 48-7.
And you predicted like one touchdown at the end of the half.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess offensively you were kind of right a little bit. We had that touchdown at the end of the half. That was-
Situational though, they didn't even need to score.
I
Their
know.
defense did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But what's your official score prediction then? Let's hear it, Trev.
That's really hard. But ultimately, I think we win this 31-24.
Okay. And
31
Stry
to
Guy,
24.
how about
Yeah,
you?
like
bud?
we'll beat the spread. We'll win by 7.
I was feeling somewhere in the 30s for us. I just don't know what to think about our defense. Like, they had a good showing against Wyoming, but I don't know what to think about them yet.
I think Blake Shapen's gonna struggle, dude.
I do
You think
too.
so?
Yeah, bro, he's not that good.
I mean, he's okay. He plays for Mississippi.
He's not okay,
So
bro.
Strider,
He was terrible on Baylor. They lost to
He was.
Texas State last year.
But Strider, what would you say is your official score prediction? Let's hear it. Let's get into it.
I was thinking, the number I was thinking for ASU was 30
Okay.
points, but and a win. But I just don't know what to say for Mississippi. I have no clue. 20 to 24 points, somewhere in that range, probably.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
See,
Yeah, that's the only thing that can make sense to me is I think Mississippi State's going to get a couple chances. They'll have maybe one or two splash plays because guess what? This team is going to make mistakes. Dillingham talked about it a little bit. We don't know who this team is until they get punched in the mouth, and I think
facing adversity.
I think they might get punched in the mouth one or two times this game, and they're going to learn from it.
I have a pretty bold prediction for this game, though. I feel
Okay,
like.
let's hear
Please
it.
say blowout.
I
'Cause I
s-
honestly have a feeling.
I say 24-10 ASU. I think
Yeah.
ASU wins by 14, and I also think Sam Levitt passes for 350.
Wow. Wow.
I also
That's-
think Jordan Tyson has a crazy game where he has over 100 receiving yards, and same thing with Jake Smith.
I like our running game, bro. They can't.
I have
tackle.
Scatabo going for 70 plus yards this game. I think Scatabo finishes 70 plus yards, and I also think that Tyson and Jake Smith have an
So
insane
you're
game.
thinking we're having like a 500-yard offensive game?
I
Dude,
think we
that's
have a crazy
crazy.
offense this game, and I feel like
Okay.
we also will not be able to get every single drive done. I feel like there's going to be a lot of plays that are going to be third and out checkdowns, kind of similar to how like almost Baltimore played on the weekend. I think
Oh,
there's going to be
man.
some plays in there that we're not going to be fans of, but
Yeah.
I definitely feel confident about this ASU offense doing really well. I just feel like specifically in the red zone, have a feeling that ASU will really be trying to obviously push for a touchdown. I do feel like there might be a time or two where we are going to come up short. Feel like, turnovers might be a thing this game, just especially
Yeah.
with how the defensive
I can
linemen
see a
play
Sam
against
Levitt
Mississippi.
pick this week.
Exactly. I see a Sam Levitt pick. I also see probably a fumble. I see it coming. I feel like, especially with the defensive backs that Mississippi has, and their defensive line this year is definitely improved. So I give them that as well. I think maybe we see one slip from Cam, maybe we see one slip too from DeCarlos.
Not from Cam.
Not from Cam, bro.
I mean, he is a good
I
ball
feel
holder.
like
I'll give it to Cam. He
this
does
game
have
is-
really good
he's-
protection on
This
the
game
ball.
is the perfect example of mentality.
Yeah.
If you treat this team like an SEC team, then you're gonna be playing an SEC team.
Which
But
they
if you
are.
just minimize,
Yeah.
if you minimize the value of Mississippi State, and you're like, oh, they're just another team. Like it's just like playing another Mountain West team. Like, dude, I think we could ragdoll this team. Like we are. I feel confident saying we are more talented than Mississippi State.
No,
I would have definitely on the offensive side of the
Yeah,
football,
on the-
definitely. Even
bro.
defensively,
Come on,
but
we're nice on defense.
They have
Really,
a good. They have a
bro,
good scheme. They have a scheme
Where
that's
was Prince
always worked for
Doorball
them
last
now.
week?
Prince Doorball. Oh, yeah, that's true. I have no clue.
I didn't think he played.
I don't think
I have
so.
no
Was
clue.
he injured?
And then you said there's no one on the injury report, so that means
No, there's a couple guys, but we're good. We're good. No wide
these guys looked
receivers.
really good. Like Jeff Clark looked really good. I loved what I loved when I saw from rotating Zach Swanson. Like ultimately, like this team's pretty nice, bro. Like this defense is nice. I really love the three safety combo of Miles Rouser, Shamari Simmons, and Xavier
I
Alford.
love Shamari, bro.
And then Kamari Wilson comes in rotation, and he's an amazing contributor. So it's like I can feel confident saying on both sides of the ball we are more athletic than
Yeah.
Mississippi State.
Going back to what you were
Yeah.
just saying is, it's about the mentality they come in with. And Dillingham talked a little bit about
Yep.
they were a little lazy at practice. I believe it was Tuesday.
Yeah,
I
Tuesday.
think that's when it
Tuesday
was.
practice.
And if they come in like that, it's not going to be pretty for
Yeah.
them. But Dillingham, Brian Ward, Hines Ward, these are some guys
I
that
love
can get them
Hines Ward.
pumped
Dude,
to
that's
play.
crazy. We got two Coach
Yeah.
Wards.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think on the defensive side of things, obviously one of the biggest things about Mississippi is they're, like I've already mentioned, they're 3-3-5, which was done by Joe Lee Dunn. Has always been a thing too of Zach Arnett, their former defensive coordinator, who's entering his fourth year now, I think. But I know that this defense is going to do a really good job, at least in protecting on the zone coverage plays and also on man. Mississippi does a really good job on staying on mans, especially with, like you said, the whole transfer portal thing this year.
Yeah, who's gonna get separation?
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing about this game is just trying to be able to route run. I think that's going to be the biggest thing for the wide receivers is being able to have a good jump off the ball And I think also being able to just juke out your defender. I think that's honestly going to be the biggest thing. I know it's easier said than done, and that's a basic key to the game.
Yeah.
They
They
were
were putting some
guys-
moves on
But
Wyoming last week.
they
though.
were, and I really love Jordan Tyson's route running. I'm
His
a
yak
huge
is
fan.
crazy,
His
yards
yak
after
is
catch.
crazy. And
What's really cool is like Mississippi State, I feel like, is in the position we were in last year.
that's
New
fair.
coach Levy, right? Like, all right, it's got to be a culture shift. And like, there's going to be some really hard games that they play this year. And like, they're definitely, like, when I said Florida's the doormat of the SEC, like, bro, we're not even acknowledging a team like Vanderbilt or this Mississippi State Bulldog
Is
team.
Van-
Like,
To get off track.
they're okay.
Vandy a good team this year?
They're okay.
By the way,
They're fine.
or is Virginia Tech fake?
Nah,
I don't.
it's
I don't
hard
know.
to say.
All I know
bro.
is they have more
Virginia
wins than Florida
Tech
State
is just like the
University.
upset team. What'd you say?
I said all I know is they have more wins than Florida State University. So
Dude, yeah, bro. Honestly, every Florida team sucks. Like,
Yeah.
let's be real here.
UCF is okay.
My
I do
favorite
like
thing, by the
KJ
way, guys,
Jefferson on UCF. I can't wait to see
It's gonna
him.
be fun to play them
Yeah.
at tail end of this season. Is it? I think it's in Central Florida.
Yeah.
I believe so.
One of my favorite things, by
No,
the
it's
way,
home.
over.
Is it home?
Game. Yeah.
Why are all our good games at home? I mean,
That's
I'm
what
not
I'm saying.
complaining.
The away games,
I was about to say, are you
the
upset
only
about
away
that?
games
No,
are
no.
Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Cincinnati, bro.
Yeah,
We got
Wow.
those. And then U of A, of
And
course.
U of A.
U of A.
Are we
U
gonna
of A, I'm
are we
not-
gonna travel to that game, guys?
of course I am. Are you
Are
kidding me?
you
That's my
joking?
Yeah,
That's my hometown.
That's my first
Oh,
time ever
dude,
going
yeah.
to.
That's my hometown. My dad's gonna be there talking hella crap.
That's the
Okay.
first time ever I'm going to the Territorial Cup. So I've never once been to a U of
Really?
A versus ASU game,
It's
and
nuts,
I
bro.
am pumped.
It's nuts.
I'm excited.
It's gonna be loud.
I'm about to be so hyped, guys. Forks up constantly. I might be Sparky that game, guys.
You
I
might
will,
be.
I will literally buy a Sparky costume for that game. But I know I'm super excited, and you know there's a lot to look forward to going into this Mississippi State game, and especially against U of A, who's looking to be maybe a CFB ranked team this year.
bro.
Are you? kidding?
I hate U of A.
I hate U of A too.
No,
but you
there's
gotta
no
give
way
it-
they do it.
You got to give it to
What
the
I
wide
saw
receiver.
from like the game replay last week was it's Tiatara McMillan. Like he is
Yeah,
their
he's
entire
their
offense.
offense.
They can't do anything else without him. Like I didn't even really like their running back. God, I'm forgetting his name. I think it's Conley, something like that. But I didn't even see a lot of impressive things from him. Like they're definitely gonna miss Justin Coleman, who transferred to Washington, following with Jed Fish. So like ultimately, yeah, this is the start of the Big 12, though, guys. We have Utah playing Baylor. This is not going to count as a conference record game, so they're kind of getting an exhibition.
Lucky.
But, yeah, it is kind of cool. Like I wish we had an exhibitional Big 12 game, but we'll see what happens.
Just got to jump right in, man.
Yeah, it's like this is Big 12 football now, and then next week
gotta
is
make a
when
splash.
next week is when things get crazy. But what's really cool is pretty much out of the 16 Big 12 teams, we have 12 of them on primetime coverage this weekend.
Wow.
And that is the most primetime covered conference in the entire weekend this weekend.
Well,
Nice.
I
So-
think it's okay to say the Big 12 is better than the S.
But yeah, we definitely have prime real estate on TV coverage this weekend, and we got to take advantage of it. Ultimately, we're playing the SEC school, and Oklahoma State is playing the other SEC school in Arkansas. So
Yeah.
we got to represent, and this is it.
Yeah, I mean, ASU didn't leave the Pac-12 for no reason, you know.
Pac-2.
Pac-2. We did it to get more media coverage, to get a better TV deal, and we're now seeing the rewards of that, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna be on national television.
And now we
They're
have the
gonna put on a
pipeline
show.
states too. Like our pipeline is now Big 12
Yeah.
states, like the Midwest, like the South. Like ultimately, like this has been helping with our exposure. And just to remind everyone, we're the second highest team in all of college football in new players. We are bringing in 60 new players to the squad. The third one is Colorado at 55. So
Aren't we tied for first? Actually, I thought we were tied for.
we might be. I
first.
just know
think
we have
so.
60 new players.
I think we were second.
I thought it was tied for second when I saw it on the. I saw the scoreboard. But
If anything, we'd be tied for first if
Is
we
it
are.
tied for first? Okay, then
It's
like-
one of the two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Points-
Either way,
stands,
we're
point
top
stands,
two,
yeah.
not two,
Yeah,
something
right.
like that, you know. But still, that's a really cool flex in my opinion, because
Yeah.
like ultimately, you just think of like, okay, new players. That kind of infers that there may be some behavioral problems or maybe like a lack of culture, but it's everything opposite of that.
Of course. And one of the biggest things, too, to this game that I'm excited to see is I want to see how both teams are mentally as they enter this game.
Yeah.
Both teams go up against easy schools, have a blowout. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. Both teams have a huge blowout victory over their
Wyoming
opening
wasn't
day.
supposed to be easy.
I mean,
it wasn't.
It wasn't, but I'm saying now it was easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I get what you guys.
But was it easy or did ASU just make it look easy? That's what we're gonna find. That's what we're gonna find out.
That's why I said to mindset. Like you can't treat them like an SEC opponent. Just treat them like a normal team.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. Like both teams have these huge victories. You know what I mean? Both have I feel like high expectations, especially in both of those conferences, SEC and Big 12. And I'm just excited to see how each team does mentally in this game, having maybe one of their first, entering the game, having one of the first kind of closer games and not having it as a blowout. I feel like, obviously, it comes down to who wants it more at that type of mentality, mindset, I feel like. So I'm just excited to see how, both teams fare up against each other when things start going, getting tough. I want to see how ASU balls out against, maybe an offense that has an explosive game, or see how Mississippi State's classic defense lines up against, ASU's explosive offense. You know what I mean? I'm just excited to see how, both piggyback off each other's game styles, honestly.
I don't know if I could have said it better myself, sir.
Yeah, and like I brought up previously, there's 11 transfers on Mississippi State's offense, but 7 of those 11 are actual brand new players. So it's they only have 4 returning players from the previous year. Blake Shapen is definitely looking to have his redemption tour. Look, he is very familiar with the Big 12. Yeah. He might have been a doormat quarterback of the Big 12 last year, and he's been in college since 2021. But ultimately, it's going to be really exciting to see what he can do against our school if he's going to have something to prove. I definitely see 1 or 2 turnovers from him, though. That's my take.
No, of course. I mean, and Sam Levitt's on his Heisman arc. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding when I say that. But I am excited to see how Levitt does control this offense a little bit more. I think it's going to be a lot more leadership from Sam this game. I felt like there was a good sense of respect between him and his offense, and I felt like they did work really well, again, going back to Tyson and Jake Smith and all those other guys. But I think this is going to be an even better, I would say, showcase for Sam Levitt's actual leadership. I'm excited to see how he leads an offense in a closer game, making sure that, how does he feel if he starts getting under pressure? Sam didn't have too much, really too many people closing in on him. He got sacked, I think it was once,
twice.
Right?
Yeah.
Was it once or twice? Okay.
But those extending the play was really cool.
Exactly. And that's what I mean, though. How does Mississippi State line up? You know what I mean? How does their QB spy look? Do they have guys waiting for him on the outside for that rush? I just am excited to see how Sam Levitt does preparing for this game and actually playing this game. I'm excited to see how he runs this offense. I feel like getting Sam Levitt the ball and finally having him get as many snaps as you can, I'm just excited. I'm just excited to see this guy play.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we're good, but
yeah.
Just remember this is a big game. Massive implications for the rest. Yes, yeah. Activate the Valley. Massive implications for the rest of the season. If we leave this game 2-0, the season feels completely different than if we leave 1-1. So you're gonna want to watch. If you're at the game and see us, say hi. Yeah, that was it.
And again, we're coming right back at it. Thursday night, we play Texas State, and I think they're the Bobcats. So we play the Texas State Bobcats on Thursday, and so we're gonna have to recover quick. We'll do our post-game coverage and pre-game coverage quick. Ultimately, let's keep the forks up high this weekend.
Yeah, of course. I want to see Sparky hit his push-up limit.
Yep, let's do it.
Yes, sir.
My boy.
Just make sure to keep the forks up, guys, and let's just stomp that bus.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, those were some cool intros last Saturday. It was really cool just seeing how they got everyone hyped
Great
up.
production team.
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful, yeah.
Totally. And I don't know if it's okay with you guys. I know we were closing out, but is it okay if I ask one more question?
Yeah, let's do it.
What point do you guys think we're able to call ASU a Big 12 team, a team that can actually withstand inside of this Big 12 conference? At what point do you think they get recognized? What is that mark?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I'm ready
right
to
there.
hammer it down.
Hey, do it. Say it.
Bud.
Now.
Yeah,
bro. Did we have any expectation that they would play the way they did last Saturday? No. I told you guys they had a top 5 RB room back in July, and you guys obviously were hesitant in believing that. What? They didn't even have Raleek Brown play. Alton McCaskill got limited PT, and he's a bona fide RB1 on Houston back in 2021. He's a good, talented running back. This is our recipe. We're going to run the football and stop the run, and that's exactly what we did against the exact Wyoming team that wanted to follow that game plan.
Totally fair. I completely agree with that, actually. And Strider, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm just thinking, I think we need a couple more wins. I think people still group us in with the BYUs and the Houstons of the world. It feels, I don't like saying
it's a good comparison for ASU as of
BYU
right now.
plays SMU tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
Do they win?
I mean, I think BYU wins that game.
I don't know.
Houston,
I don't care.
Houston, unfortunately.
Honest, I couldn't care. You cannot pay me to care about BYU football.
Houston, unfortunately, plays Oklahoma on Saturday.
Okay, well, they should have took care of business against UNLV. Yeah. That's their own fault.
They couldn't even have business. They were
they were dead to rights.
Just for you though, Strider, how do you what mark are you setting for ASU to be considered a upper half Big 12
do they
team?
have to beat Kansas?
Do they have to beat Kansas? Do they have to beat Utah? Are you saying we got to get a bowl game in? What point?
I don't. I would say yes to a bowl game if we're gonna establish.
We got it. We just need 5 more wins.
If we establish ourselves as a bowl team, that does wonders for us. But I think
unless we bowl ban again.
I think the mark for us is we got to get a big win, a Kansas, a Utah, or an Oklahoma State. I think that's
later
what.
in the
So
season.
are you saying then Kansas, Utah, or OSU? Probably not OSU.
Probably not.
But
OSU.
are you saying for those one of those?
Well, it's just too late in the season.
Yeah.
One of those 3 teams that's when you'll say we're an upper half Big 12 team.
I would say so. Yes.
For at least for this year.
For this year, absolutely.
Interesting.
That's where I'm putting us. What do we really learn beating Texas State?
That's true.
Yeah, we're not gonna learn.
We just learn how to be another team that's supposed to have a run.
We gotta beat defense. We gotta stop Taj Brooks and Texas Tech. That's pretty much it.
True.
If we go into Lubbock and win that game, we start 4-0. Like I said, we're gonna be ranked after that game.
Yeah, 100%.
And maybe then I'd be willing to.
Because look at the Big 12, right? Houston's bad. BYU's pretty mid. Baylor might fall under the bridge now. If they lose bad to Utah this weekend, they might struggle. It might be done for them.
They're gonna lose bad to Utah. That's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's really interesting because again, Utah's back in the Big 12. It's pretty much a mindset shift for our teams, our 4 teams.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to I don't know if you guys are fine, but this is my mark.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I think that for ASU, when I will start calling this team a top Big 12 conference, level squad is when I start seeing. I see one of these players. I'm saying one or two of these players accumulate a accolade after the end of this year within the Big 12, a Big 12 accolade.
Oh, like Big 12, all Big 12 offense or something like that.
If we have I'll say 2 guys make that. I say we are, and I'll also say though too for option B we beat Texas Tech. I think we beat Texas Tech, and I'm willing to say that we are an upperclassman team, or we start out this season going 3-0, dropping to Texas Tech, and then who's the game after us? Kansas, and if we beat Kansas, I think if we go 4-1 through the first 5.
Here's my counter to your first point.
Okay.
So Colorado, first team Big 12 players. Do you consider them a Big 12 contender?
Yes.
I would say
defense is suspect.
Okay,
but that's not we're not saying contenders to win the Big 12 like
but to compete.
I'm saying no, but I'm saying Colorado is definitely a top half Big 12 team as it stands right now. With Shadur, Travis, and not to mention the fact Travis Hunter's going crazy right now. Potential Heisman. His Heisman stakes went up. By the way, guys, this is according to DraftKings and FanDuel. He started out the season with a 1,500, is now at a plus 40 or plus 450.
He's already the best college football player. He's so nice.
But that's what I mean. And
Smith.
When you have a squad like that, you need to win. But I also think at the same time though too, when you have players like that, they need to once they're recognized. I feel like that gives your team a little bit of an ego boost, and 2 a boost of confidence in your entire room of not just wide receivers, cornerbacks, but your entire squad. I feel like that also in itself makes you a better team from winning accolades like that, especially entering the next year.
And we think of the bottom half of the Big 12. Like we mentioned, right? BYU, Houston, Baylor. We didn't even mention West Virginia, Okay, they could be
Boo.
suspect. We didn't even mention Cincinnati.
Boo.
They could be suspect. We didn't even mention Iowa State. They could lose to Iowa this weekend, and that could sour down their season. Like they might just lose all their confidence. That's already 6 teams that I confidently feel like ASU is just playing better. We have better energy.
I completely agree with that. You know, Trev, when you were talking to us week 0, you know what I mean? I definitely disagreed with that take. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
But
100%.
I definitely think that we've overperformed West Virginia. I think that we overperform against Iowa. I think the same thing too against, same thing too with like the Houstons of the world
And BYU.
And BYU. I think we are. I think the first week we played ball better than all of them. But again, week 1, still little to say. Little to say, of course. But I definitely do feel a lot better after week 1. I do feel great about this squad. I think ASU does have a chance to become a upperclassman team in the Big 12.
Yep.
I think we might already be halfway there. I'm not calling that too early. I'm not trying to be too optimistic.
I'm just confident because we have an identity.
No, of course, totally.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing we all talked about. We all talked about entering week 1. How does this team look? And also, after getting a win against Wyoming, how do we feel? You know what I mean? We all talked about that. And I think Wyoming does I think we did a great job against Wyoming. And I feel like this team's feeling great. And I think we smack Mississippi. I mean, I feel the same way. I know I have my 24-10 prediction, but I'm also willing to, give myself a little bit of a deep throw. Hail Mary is the same thing like Trev said. I'm willing to say, though, too, this team could also blow them out of the water.
And on ESPN, and that's what I want to see.
And I will also say, though, too, I will throw this out there, too. I will call us an upperclassman team as well if and only if we blow out our first 3 games by a total of 21 or more. I'll do 14 or more,
Okay.
We'd have
14
to
or more,
be,
or 21 or more.
Because then we come into Texas Tech.
Then
and
I
Lubbock, and we're
feel
like,
then I
we're
love
in-
this offense.
No
I
cap,
love this
no
offense.
care it is.
Yeah.
Because, look, the problem with those bottom tier Big 12 teams is that they don't have an offensive identity. Houston couldn't do anything offensively against UNLV. It was pathetic.
UNLV has a good defensive line.
They're my pick to win the
The Mountain West, really?
Yeah.
Actually, you don't believe in Boise State?
I do believe in Boise, but I do love UNLV a lot more. I know
Damn.
we're switching into divisions here a little bit, but
Didn't
I
they-
do love UNLV
Damn.
a lot. And we have a good buddy of ours that's a big UNLV fan, so I know he's gonna love that too.
He's
Yeah.
gonna love that too.
But
That's
I do have a lot of confidence in their front 7. So yeah.
Well,
But anyways, guys, that's how I wanted to ask that last question on how
Yeah.
when we think our mark would be for ASU. To
I'm
be
glad we
considered
all
a-
have different takes on it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
it's interesting.
That's what I was hoping for.
But I
so I'm
think,
glad.
I think the ultimate point is that we are all excited.
We
Yeah, of
are.
course.
Like that is what Saturday did for us. It really has us devoted to this team. Like if we would have had a very skin by Wyoming and didn't feel as confident, then this podcast, this energy is completely different.
Yeah.
But right now it's we set precedent.
We have hope.
So, yeah, we do have hope. I have faith. I've been having faith ever since I got CFB 25. Built a dynasty for this squad and took them to the Orange Bowl to play Florida with the Heisman difficulty. I was like, all right.
Oh, Heisman.
Wow.
Hey,
Big
you
man
know
on
what
campus here,
happening.
buddy.
Buddy's a
Hey,
gamer.
if you ever create your own player on Heisman, you're not starting for 2 years. Just know that.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
And I will say also, real quick, are we rushing the field if we beat Mississippi?
No.
No,
We're
no,
not.
no.
We are not.
No,
man.
but if we beat Kansas or Utah, because Kansas is going
I'm
to be
just saying
ranked.
against first win ever against the SEC team.
Is Kansas
do we
ranked
get
right
hyped
now?
for that?
Kansas
is
is-
not ranked right now.
They're not.
Kansas is.
Are they?
They're
Oh,
19.
what?
They're 19.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay,
My
so
bad.
that's what I'm
My
saying.
bad.
By the-
Sorry, I
They won a
apologize.
bowl
I
game
apologize.
last
By
year.
the
Kansas
time
is
we
good.
play
Yeah,
them-
I didn't know they were.
By the
ranked to start
time we
off the
play
year. My
them,
bad.
they might be top 13, top 12.
They could be.
They could be.
And so that's what I'm
depends on
saying.
them.
If we beat a Kansas at home, that's when we rush the field.
Okay, there
If
we
we
go.
could, okay, that's completely fair. If we beat Kansas at home and they're within the top 15, top 10,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, man, what a win for ASU.
That'd be
It'd
crazy.
be crazy. And yeah, we'd be
Dude,
on our way to a
what's
bowl
crazy?
game at
Like
that
I
point.
really had a feeling we were gonna start hot. Like I really did. I
He did call it. You got to give it to him, Shredder. He did call it.
Hey, all I'm going to say is I predicted a larger margin of victory in the Wyoming ASU game.
What was your prediction? I don't remember.
You weren't there. You had your stuff.
I was late to recording session.
yeah,
My
it's
bad.
okay.
What was
I
it
was
like?
late.
I said didn't I say 24-10?
Yeah, he said
I think that what you predicted for
Yeah.
this game actually.
Yeah,
So
he
24 to
actually
10,
said that.
and then yours was like
17-13.
17-13. So we both predicted.
Yeah,
well.
like
We'll
that's
see.
what I see
My
with this ASU
prediction
team.
was
Like we start
ASU
hot,
win.
and then the back half of the schedule, like we start, like teams figure us out. They make some adjustments. They stack the box, and like we could easily lose a trap game here and there.
That's also what it's going to come down to in terms of Kenny Dillingham. How
Yeah.
does he adjust to those types of coaches that adjust to him?
Well, Sam
that's
Levitt really
what you
takes
gotta
after
love.
Bo Nix. Like he loves Bo Nix.
Oh,
Like he
Okay.
said that in his presser. He's like, I love being as detail oriented as Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And like ultimately, like that's what Kenny wants. Like
That's-
someone who's like nimble like that.
completely fair. And, same thing with Kenny. He's been talking about it. He wants to see how the freshmen perform. He wants to see how guys who haven't gotten too much playtime perform. He wants to test the waters. And I think that's a good thing. As a young head coach, you want to also prove that, young players are also just as good as young head coaches.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Perfect.
that's honestly, guys, probably all I think we have.
I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So game day tomorrow.
Game
Game
day
day.
tomorrow.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the 480 podcast. We're super excited that you guys came to watch us today, and we'll be at the Sun Devil game, as Strider mentioned. So if you guys ever see us, come and say hi. Trust me, we're pretty friendly.
Yeah.
For the most part. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and ASU, let's just go get after it, Let's just go pick up a win against our first SEC team.
Dude, that'd be
So
hype.
hold the
Yep.
forks high, baby, and let's stop that bus.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Let's do it, guys. Awesome. Thank you guys so much again for watching. We'll have links in the description and links here, and here, as we always do. So hope you guys come and check us out on some more videos.
Screw the Bulldogs.
Screw the Bulldogs.
You're just a little pup. We'll put you in a kennel.
Yeah, we'll be like Pat McAfee. Do the Pat McAfee switch up on the Georgia Bull like you did with Georgia and
Yeah.
Alabama.
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
okay. Thank you guys.